Well, good morning and happy Tuesday to each and every one of you. Honey, you know what Tuesday brings at 11:30. It is our time to come together and get some inspiration, some motivation, some encouragement to go through this particular work week. I want to give a shout out to the Tuesday Live with Tab E-Church members. Y'all, we are growing and we're growing strong, but I want to get into this word today. I hope you saw it in the chat. I hope you saw the title of the message for today in the chat. The title says, it's worth it. I don't know what it is that you're dealing with, what you're facing right now. I don't know if you're in the peak of it and you're able to say, Tab, I connect with you. I understand. I agree. And I touch in the spirit. It's worth it. Hey there, Nicole, Miss Bowen. Hey there. I don't know if you're in a position where you're in the valley of something and it's not going the way you wanted it to go, Mr. Aaron. But can I tell you on this morning, God sent me to just tell you it's worth it. Oh, if I jump into this word, y'all, I tell you, I was laying down in the bed this morning and I was laying there. I couldn't help but think about my middle son, Christopher. Hey there, Daddy. Good morning. I couldn't help but think about Christopher. My oldest son just had a birthday on November the 11th, and shout out to all of the veterans out there for Veterans Day. And then my baby boy just had his birthday, James, on Sunday. So I had the oldest and the youngest, but right in the middle was Christopher. And I began this morning as I was just saying, God, what are we talking about, James, on this morning? God dropped Christopher in my spirit. And I said, God, why is he in my spirit? And he began to talk to me about football. Holy Spirit was like, do you remember when Christopher played football? Some of y'all are my football fans out there. And I said, yeah, God. I said, he said, give Chris a call. And I didn't quite know why I was going to give Chris a call, because let me explain to you the journey that I was sitting there thinking about before I said, do I want to call Chris about this? Because I, as the mama, I remember the football journey, God. I remember, let me take you. If you just come back a little with me, just come on over here for a little bit with me. Hey there, Kevin, good morning. I remember when Christopher was in middle school. Now, Christopher's in his mid-20s, right? Hey there, Crystal. And I remember Christopher was in middle school, and when he was a baby, when I was carrying him, the doctor told me, I'm going somewhere with this, the doctor told me when I was carrying him that he has one kidney that works and one that does not. They could see it in the ultrasound. And I remember when Chris was born, and the doctor said, now look, he's not ever going to be able to play contact sports because we're not sure, how he would be able to handle that with one functional kidney if he got a hit. And I remember Chris would look at stuff. He's that child. The other two are calm. Chris is that child that just, Mama, I can do it. And he's just aggressive and he's sport minded and he's an athlete. And I'm like, of all the children, this one right here. And I remember we're in middle school. We're in middle school and Chris wants so badly to play football. And I'm saying, Chris, I said, no. He said, Mama. And then I bought, this is the actual football. I got him this football. And I said, we'll just play, in the backyard. And he said, no, Mama, I want to get on the field. He said, can you just go to the doctor? Can you just ask them one more time? The coaches started coming to me. And I said, why are the coaches coming to the boy? Ain't never played football before. They said, we want to talk to you. And I said, what is it? And they said, his teachers have come to us. Now, Chris was an AB student, but let me tell you the other part of Christopher. Christopher was an A-B student all throughout school, but Christopher was also the one in pre-K that would walk in after I would drop him off, run into my car, praying that they didn't call me before I could get to work. He done cleared the teacher desk. I don't want to be here today. He was that type of child, if I could tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth. And the coaches came to me and they said, the teachers have come to us. And Chris he's an amazing student. He's a great young man and we see so much potential in him, but he has this built up anger and we're not really sure where it comes from, but Mom, would you consider letting him get on the field? And I said, look, it's not that I don't want him to play football. I wasn't one of those moms. I'm like, y'all will suit him up. But the doctor said, he said, well, could you get another opinion? We go and we get another opinion and the doctor says, well, no, technology has evolved. And as long as he wears these type of pads and does this and does that, he should be okay. So when middle school, Christopher plays football and it's a blessing because in that moment, I'm I'm seeing him able to release the anger. I'm seeing him having an outlet. I'm seeing him be able to fellowship with the friends and the coaches. And I said, okay, this football thing working out. Hey there, Renata. And then as I go a little bit further, Chris now journeys and he goes through Lithonia High School here in Georgia, in the great state of Georgia. And he's playing at Lithonia High School and he's doing so well that he gets this football scholarship to this private school. I'm going somewhere called Yaks. This is the hat that I had as the mama. You know, the mama, I contributed. I was on the sideline. I'm going somewhere, so I bought the football that I get to keep. And then I bought the hat because I said, well, you know, if he gonna be playing, you know, mama got to have her gear on. I got to look cute. So I bought my little hat. And I said, all right, Chris, I got you. And I used to tell him, I said, baby, I said, I'm your loudest cheerleader and I'm your biggest fan. Christopher played football, y'all. He got a scholarship for high school football because he really, really was good. He really was good. Chris would play ball. And I remember he ended his career, if you will, at Lithonia High School, went on over to the Christian high school to play football and ended with being the number 7 wide receiver for the state of Georgia. Oh, the boy was good. Elder Fly, thank you, Crystal. But the boy was good. He was good. He was good. He was good. And then we journey on and he has scholarships. I'm going somewhere. He has these scholarships and he's got scholarships to almost 9, 10 different schools. Full ride scholarships, wants to play ball. And I said, Chris, and I said, all right, now you got this thing. And he said, yeah, mama, I got it. And he goes to Gardner Webb. And I'm that mama. I'm that mama. So he plays at Gardner Webb University in North Carolina, Great Carolinas. So I had to get my Gardner Webb shirt together. Whew, yeah, there we go. This is my Gardner. They were Bulldogs, not Georgia. This is the Gardner Webb Bulldog. So I got my football, and I still got my, the middle school football. I got my high school gear. Now I got my college gear as a parent. Hey there, Laquana. I'm like, all right. And I remember when he went to Gardner Webb University, because they're not really a football school, they're more so a basketball school. He didn't get a lot of playing time. And he was on the peak of his football journey, and now it seems to be dipping. I remember Daddy came to that game. I remember that we were there at a couple of games and they didn't have the best, and no slight to them, and they just didn't have the best of coaches at that particular school. And a lot of the injuries that the team was suffering was because they would tell them to do stuff and run plays. And sometimes I'm sitting on the field. Y'all, I don't know if y'all coach like me. Hey there, Hermione, I coach. And I was like, why they got them doing this? Run a slant, do this. I don't know what a slant is. I heard somebody say it. But I said, run a slant, do this, and man, on the sideline, how we got so much to say because we on the sideline. We not in the game. Hey there, Bishop Candidate. We not in the game. And here I am watching my son, Chris. I'm sitting on this game. We're in the senior game. We're the last game of his football career in college. And I'm sitting there and he comes and I remember the tears in his eyes. I remember because this was the last game. Because you see, we knew for sure, him and his bonus dad, we knew for sure that Chris was going to go pro. Oh, see, we come from a pro line of football players. My uncle, Freddie Solomon, God rest his soul, used to play pro football. So y'all know Freddie Solomon. And then we have a nephew, and his name is Roderick McDowell, played for Clemson. You know, we have this whole, and his dad, he played at Clemson, and he also played with the Seahawks. So it's in the bloodline. It's what we do. It's what we do. And when Christopher didn't go pro, we were all in the valley with him. And Christopher came on out of college, y'all, and I'm still the mama holding on to the memories. I got the football still right here from his middle school days. I got the hat from when he played at a scholarship and got over 1,000 receiving yards his senior year. I'm bragging on him this morning. I got the college jersey that, the mamas wear because he was playing and he was a Bulldog, so mama had to become a Bulldog. And then he graduated college during the pandemic and he started working. And he started working at FedEx. I'm going somewhere this morning. So, they give out these little perks and stuff, and he got a book bag, and he's a mama, I don't need a book bag. So he gave me the book bag. So now I got the football, I got the hat, I got the jersey, I got the book bag. And I said, okay, I'm just collecting all of your stuff. And then from there, he transitions and he's doing what he does today. Oh, I watched him at FedEx, y'all, and I would listen to him come home, and he would say, mama, some of the supervisors don't have the work ethic. And I said, what you talking about, son, the work ethic? And I started to hear that football language come out. And you got to know how to be a team team player. You got to know how to work together. You got to know how to get through the successes. And sometimes you're not going to win every day, but you get up the next day and you just start over again. I started hearing that football come out, and I said, I said to myself, something must have happened on that football field that he's carried and transitioned over to life. And then he goes from doing this, and now he's in the army. So now I got this, and now I got to put on an army hat because my baby he's in the army. I got two of them in the army. And I said, well, let me give me a cute little army jacket, because he said, Mommy, you can't wear the U.S. government gear. I said, I get my own government gear. So I got my little jacket, and now here I am. I got the memories of middle school and high school. I got the memories of high school and all of the accolades. I got the peaks and the valleys of the college days. And I got my jersey, and I got my hat, and I got my gear, and I got the career that he took. And I said, God, why are we going on this journey this morning? And I began to just think about how I was on the sideline, really, of his life. Oh, can I tell you, Mentee, I was on the sideline of his life, and I remember how we thought he was going to go pro, and I remember the peaks of his career. Oh, I remember the personal gain that came with it. I remember I would say, Christopher, now you're not going to be able to play in the game if your grade's not where they're supposed to be. I told you he was an A and B student, but I thought I could dangle that little thing. Every now and then a parent got to have something to dangle. And I realized that it didn't even matter, because this particular child, he was going to do what he needed to do. Blessings to you as well, so that he could get on that field. I realized that he had a passion. And see, his papa that's listening right now, my daddy will always tell you, he would say, don't work for $1. Oh, if you work for $1, you're going to be a slave for life. He would say, find your passion. And Christopher had found his passion in life. And it was something about football. And I remember as a sideline how I was sitting and I would watch him win a game. And I would watch it. And we get to the point when every time he get a touchdown, he liked this little wet bread called honey bun. Who eats wet bread? It's called honey bun. He loved honey buns. So every time he got a touchdown, I said, I'll get you a honey bun. It was just, that's what we did in my house. And one time when he ended his career, he had over 13 touchdowns. So I went and bought him 13 honey buns. And he was a wide receiver. Wide receivers don't get those kind of plays. Hey there, Rosalind. And I'm like, oh my God. And I'm thinking about it this morning as I'm laying in the bed. I said, I remember the peaks of his career. But then I also had to think about the low points. I remember, because when I was thinking about the peaks, I said, it was worth it, Chris. It was worth it. But then I thought about the low points. I thought about every time he pulled a hamstring. I thought about every time he pulled a muscle and his back was hurting. I thought about every time I was like, oh my God, did they hit that kidney, the one that's working? I thought about how he would come sometimes and he said, Mama, I'm just aching. And I would say, we're going to have to do an ice bath. And he said, that's what athletes do, suck it up. And in the back of my head, I'm like, I wouldn't want to get that ice cold water either. But I thought about the valleys of it. I thought about the time, because he would play football and he would run track, and how he would have to get out of that thing, that thing they put on your foot, the blocks, and he would have to get out of them blocks, and he had done it so much from football and from track that he had to get surgery on his foot. I thought about all of that process that we went through on the sidelines watching. I remember when he was in college and he played, and I remember watching him get kicked and flipped up into the air, and he got hit so hard, because Chris, let me tell you now, he 5'10", 11, he probably 150 pounds soaking wet, but the boy is fast. But when you got 300 pounds of Wyoming football players coming up at you, baby, you better duck. And he didn't duck quick enough, and they hit my baby, and my baby had a concussion. Oh my, I remember those moments. I remember the tears that would come if you lost the game. We had one of our youth from church, Jalen, that's my baby boy, and Jalen is one of our youth from church, and I went to go see his championship game a couple of weeks ago, and they had won every game. They were undefeated, y'all, and they get to this last game, and they play this school that's also undefeated, I believe, and they lost. And I remember Jalen just walked up to me. It was the only, I said, promise, I'm going to make a game. And it's the first game and the last game that I got to. And I remember the tears coming down his eye. And he just dropped up on my shoulder. And I hugged him and I said, look, Jalen, I said, it's a part of the process. I said, you're going to win some and you're going to lose some. It's a part of the process. But look at all that you played this year. It was worth it. And he looked at me and I said, now dry your face, because I want to take a picture and you're looking snotty. That's how I got to go. You're looking snotty. Get your face together so we can take a picture. But I remember the pain, because I felt it. Even though I wasn't on that field, I was hurting for him. I remember how Christopher would have that same expression on his face. And I remember that very last senior game. I remember that game. We were at Gardner Webb, and it's his senior night, and he knew in that moment that football was over for him because it was the last game. And it was a different type of tear that went down his eye. And I remember him saying, Mama, there was people that said they was going to come and they didn't make none of my games. Not a middle school, a high school, a college game. They didn't make none. And I said, Chris, it's all right. People that's supposed to be there, it's going to be there. Don't get an attitude. It's all right. It's all right. But I remember the feeling of a parent of, oh, I know how it feels when you just want somebody to support you, even especially when you don't make the mark. And I remember the low point. And something had me to call him this morning. Holy Spirit said, call him. And I said, hey, Chris, I said, I want to ask you, I'm going somewhere this morning. I said, how was your football journey? He said, ma'am. I said, I'm just sitting here this morning and God had you on my mind. And I just want to know, because, I remember, but I was on the sideline. I remember, the ups and the downs of football and the successes and the wins and the trophies and all of that stuff. But I remember, the surgeries and the hamstrings and the muscle. I said, what do you think about it? When you step back today, what do you think about it? And he said, Rose, he said, Mama, I miss it. I said, really? Because see, on the sideline, all I could see was the pain. Isn't it interesting how in life we have all of these highlight moments, but somehow it's the pain that we rest on? Isn't it interesting how sometimes we have all of these accolades and all of these amazing things that happen, but we had that one thing that happens and the pain seems to overshadow all of the peaks. And I said, you miss it? He said, Mama, I miss it. He said, oh, if I could do it again. I said, you would do it again? He said, yes, Mama. He said, I'd do it again. He said, football. And he just started talking. And I heard that passion, Daddy, coming back alive. He said, oh, football. He said, it helped me with my anger, Mama. He said, even today, he said, sometimes I get frustrated and I get mad. And I just realized that, you know what? In football, I used to hit stuff and blow off steam, but I got to get it out a different way. He said, because I remember you walk off the field because you're mad and you might get ejected. So I got to handle stuff a different way. I said, oh, okay. He said, and I remember, Mama, the fellowship of football. I said, oh, that boy using a church word. I said, you better be a PK. He said, Mama, I remember the fellowship of football. I remember being in the locker room, and I remember the friends that I've gained along the way. He said, some of those people I still talk to today. He said, I remember the burst that came from winning a game. He said, I remember the joy about all of that. He said, I remember that plays. He said, Mama, we would go through these plays, and those plays, he said, Mama, I use today. I said, what you mean you use them today? He said, man, Mama, he said, sometimes in the army, he said, I be telling them, you got to think, man. You got to think about the strategy. You got to think, how are we going to advance? You got to think. You got to use your brain. And what I heard in him, I heard the middle schooler. I heard the high schooler. I heard the college student. I heard the used to work student. I heard the army man stand up and say, it was worth it. We ended that call this morning, and he said, Mama, it was worth it. And I got off the phone with him and I said, God, what are you saying to me on this morning? Why did you have me to go down that journey? And I'm animated, so I'm going to pull all this stuff out. And God, I'm hot. If I tell the truth, y'all Tuesday laugh, I'm hot. You got 2 hats and a coat and a jacket and a jersey and a t-shirt. Got this football in my hand. I'm hot. God, why did we go down that journey? And as I began to get in the spirit of the Lord, he said, Tab, this month you're talking about enlarging the territory. For those of you that are following us, last Thursday we launched our first Bible study, and this month we're on the prayer of Jabez, enlarge my territory. And Jabez was asking God for more. Have you ever asked God for more and you really had to step back and say, God, I'm a little bit confused because I asked you for more? And I'm going to use a Bishop Victor DeMonte word. He introduced me one time. He was preaching and he said the vicissitudes of life. I said, I don't even know how to spell it, but I'm going to practice my consonants and my vowels. The vicissitudes of life. The vicissitudes of life show up and you begin to wonder, was this worth it? Oh, as I begin to look at this territory that comes with enlargement, I'm coming this morning because I don't want you to get confused, because I believe that God is getting ready to grant some of you with some enlarged territory. I believe that God is getting ready to open some doors that no man can close. I believe that God is about to lift up some windows on you and pour out blessings that you won't have room to receive. I believe that your latter days are going to be a way lot better than your former days. I believe that God is up to something concerning concerning me and concerning you. But I don't want you to get confused, because you'll have these peak moments, but then you also may dip down into the valley when he enlarges your territory. I remember going through the process of saying, God, could you enlarge my territory? I wanted an apartment, Abdul, and we went from the apartment to having the house built. But I didn't realize having a house built means that you got to do a little extra work. You're not calling on the landlord to say, hey, the pipe isn't working. You're not calling on the landlord to say, hey, can you cut the grass? Being a homeowner means you got to put in some work, entree, that you didn't put in before. And I said, God, you've enlarged my territory, but being a homeowner from an apartment renter means work. Oh, Abdul, I began to think about the jobs that I used to work on. And I said, God, I thank you for the jobs. And I would say, God, would you enlarge my territory? Would you give me a promotion, Lord? And I began to get the promotion, but I didn't know what the promotion meant, Miss Elizabeth, that I might have to work some extra hours. I didn't know what the promotion that it might meant that I had to sacrifice. And no, I can't come this time. And no, I can't go this time. And it meant that I missed out on a couple of things. And when you're in a promotion and you got people up underneath you, it means that you're in charge. Everybody don't like that you the HNIC. Everybody don't like that you a woman giving them direction. Everybody don't like that you younger than me and telling me what to do. Everybody don't like that you're positive and you smile and you treat people with respect, because they used to bosses that's mean and nasty. So now they're trying to figure out what's your motive and why you so happy that day. Ooh, y'all, can I tell you that promotion on the job? I said, ooh, God, I asked you to enlarge my territory. But I get to think about it. I said, ooh, it's worth it, God. I remember you don't be single. I remember wanting to get married. I said, okay, I remember those vows. Ooh, in sickness and in health. But I didn't know that you was a whiner when you were sick. Can I tell the truth? I didn't know that you needed your mama when your nose was running. Can I tell the truth? I didn't know that you whined like that when you wasn't feeling well. Oh, I said, oh God, what have I gotten myself into? I remember being married required some work. And what do you do when I still love you, but I don't like you? How do you handle that? What do you do? What do you say? Do you back up? Do you keep trying? I remember the peaks, but oh, I remember the valleys. Enlarge my territory. Oh God, I remember how it feels to be an entrepreneur. Some of you have launched a business. Some of you have started an LLC. Some of you are in position and you're doing these things and you're asking, God, give me more clients. But you realize with more clients comes more demands, more phone calls, more emails, more text messages, more pulling on you. I need you to do this and you need to be there. And can you handle this? And you want the enlargement. You wanted the 501c to grow. You wanted the church to grow. You wanted, but you didn't realize it was going to be pulling and got to be here and got to be. And you used to be a person that was always on time. And now you're late for everything because you're trying to catch and be here and show up and get a little bit of rest and eat a little bit of food. And you said, God, enlarge my territory, but it requires some work. Can I tell you, Mother Jerry, it requires some work. And I said, oh, God. And I remember, if y'all let me just go a little bit further, I couldn't help but think about Biggie this morning. Don't judge me. Y'all know I had a life outside there. I had a past, I had a history. And I couldn't help but think about Biggie Smalls this morning. And Biggie Smalls had this song. He said, more money, more problems. I said, ooh. Wait. That thing came to my mind this morning. I said, Holy Spirit, we ain't got church song. He said, more money, more problems. And I remember it was a part in this song. They said, I don't know what they want from me. It's like the more money we come across, the more problems we see. That's all you get, record deal. Come on in the mail. Come on in the mail. I remember that song. He said, I don't know what they want from me. It's like the more money we come across, the more problems we see. God, what happens when I say enlarge my territory? Oh, I like the enlargement when I'm on the peak. I like the enlargement when I can be the one with the football in my hand and I'm progressing the ball down the field. But I had to pause a little bit this morning because I remember the valley. I remember the pain of watching my son go through the hits. I remember personally being on my own football field of life. And sometimes things that you asked for didn't come the way that you thought it would be packaged, and it didn't look the way. And I said, God, what do I do with this message on this morning? And he said, I need you to tell the people it's worth it. I need you to remind them that it's worth it. And I said, God, what do you mean? Hey there, Jimmy, what do you mean it's worth it? He said, you see what happened with your son, Tab, is Christopher got to this point where he wasn't running the football so that he could make the coach proud of him. He had got past that. He wasn't running the football because he done got the scholarship so that he could say, okay, God, I got this scholarship. Now I'm going to check it off the list. He wasn't running it for man to give him accolades because he had found a passion inside of him. He had found something inside of him that meant more than life itself. I remember he said one time, he was quoting E.T., Mama, life is football and football is life. He would say, Mama, how bad do you want it? And he would say stuff. That's what made me a football fan. I said, boy, you talking a language that I don't understand. It sounds like some faith. He would say, we're going to win this game. And they would lose the game sometime. He said, we got them next week. It was something about how he conducted himself that made me say, wait a minute, let me tap on into this mindset, tap onto this spirit. So when he was talking this morning out of the mouths of babes, all my ears was listening. And I said, Christopher, what did you say? Run that by me again. He said, Mama, it was worth it. I began to think about before he was in the army. Y'all, I told you he was working with FedEx. And get up out of this stuff right here. And see, that's what it likes, because sometimes we got to get out of man stuff. And we got to get out of man stuff. And you got to tap into your spirit and say, God, if I don't do it for a jersey, if I don't do it for a hat, if I don't do it for a book bag, if I don't do it for a ball, if I don't do it for a jacket and a uniform, what am I doing this thing for? Oh, I need you to tap into your spirit this morning. See, the devil would love to put you in a place. As I come to a close, I'm going to give you a scripture. I got a scripture for you this morning. He would love for us to get in a place where we think it's not worth it. He would love for you to get the house and think it's not worth it. He would love for you to get the job and all the stuff that comes with it and think it's not worth it. He would love for you to get married and you have a little fight and you think it's not worth it. He would love for you to build the business and open the church and start the business and the LLC, and you deal with people and all the people bring and think it's not worth it. He would love for you to get more money and get more cash, and then you're broke next week because you just didn't realize what you had, so you thought it just wasn't worth it. He would love to get you in a mindset. Can I tell you, in this life, you will have sun and you will have rain. Can I tell you, in this life, you will have trials and you'll have tribulations, but you'll also have wins and you'll have successes, and your good days will outweigh your bad days. Your sickness will come to a place where you'll be in health. Your mind will, I'm prophesying this morning, your mind will come into a place where you'll say, I am determined. I'm a strong person. I can get through this. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. No devil in hell is going to take me out today. I've got this and God has got me. Oh, you'll get to a place in life where you say, it's worth it. It's worth it. Because I'm not doing it for man. It's worth it. I'm not doing it for a hat and a jersey. It's worth it. I'm not doing it for the accolades and my name to be on the door. It's worth it. I'm doing it because it's my passion. I'm doing it because it's what I was created to do. I'm doing it because I'm good at it. And I'm doing it, and sometimes I'm nervous. And sometimes I'm crying. And sometimes I'm sad. And sometimes I'm intimidated. But it's worth it. Oh, I tell you, when we did this e-church launch last Tuesday, I remember getting ready because I knew that we've been doing this thing for over 3.5 years, y'all. And Abdul, I remember being in my hotel room because I was at a leadership conference, and we had about 30 minutes before, it was a little bit after 11, that I was getting ready to go live. And I remember Sylvia being in that hotel room, and something came over me. And I don't know what it was, y'all. We've been doing this, and I get on here and I do what I do, and God fills me. Hey there, Randy. And we do it. We go hard and we go in and we have fun. But something was different about last Tuesday. Last Tuesday, I was making an announcement that we were going from making this something that was just motivational and inspirational to being a church. And with that comes a different level of accountability and responsibility and pastoring. And I was scared. And somebody told me, don't use that word. Don't say that you have the spirit of fear. But I'm human, and I was scared. I got to tell it like it is. I don't know how to fake the funk. And I sat on the edge of my bed. Let me tell you. I got on the edge of the bed, y'all, at this hotel room. And I got my phone out. And I got one of my big sisters. Her name is Yvette Searson. She sits on my board. And I called Yvette, FaceTimed her. And I said, hey. And she said, hello. And I said, Bet. I said, I know I'm not supposed to say it. Did my whole Christian intro. I said, I know I'm not supposed to say it. I know what the word says. I said, but sissy, I'm scared. And she said, I know you are. She was so calm. Wanda, she was so calm. She said, and you're going to do it scared. And I looked at her. She said, and you're going to be all right. Because that's what you do. And in that moment, she said, you're doing this for the glory of God. So you're going to do it scared. And you're going to have some people that are excited and some people that are not. You're going to have some people that are for you and some people that are just going to be stalking to see what's she doing over there. You're going to have some people that's saying, look how far God has brought her from. And people that say, wasn't she the one that did so and so? She said, and you're still going to do it. And you're going to do it scared. Because you're doing it for God. Hey there, Ron. And as I paused and that thing came back to my memory on this morning, y'all, I have to tell you, I've been watching what's been going on with Tuesday Live. And this morning, and this isn't a moment of bragging by any means, it's a moment so that you can connect to what God, I believe, is doing as he enlarges territory. We started off, I told you on Tuesday, last week Tuesday, 15 people that had joined that morning. By the end of the day, we was at 111. Here we are a week later, and I'm looking at the numbers right now. We're at 160 members. To God be the glory. And I looked at the locations because I wanted to know where are these people from. So I took my time and I created this thing so that I could see where do they live at. And it's people in Alabama, California, Colorado. I'm reading it off Connecticut, Florida, Georgia, Hawaii that are part of this e-church. Idaho, Illinois, Maryland, Michigan, Mississippi, Missouri, New Jersey, North Carolina, South Carolina, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Texas, Virginia, and Wisconsin in the U.S. Hey there, Doris, and outside of the U.S., Italy, Nigeria, and the United Kingdom. And I said, God, as I sat there this morning, looking at this list, looking at the journey of what got us here, and what are we doing today? He took me to Colossians chapter 4, verse 23. In Colossians 4:23, if you listen to this word of the Lord, it says, whatever you do, do it heartily as to the Lord and not to men, knowing that from the Lord you will receive the reward of the inheritance, for you serve the Lord Christ. Let me give this to you again. It's all right, Doris. Come on in here, sis. It says, whatever you do, do it heartily as to the Lord and not to men, knowing that from the Lord you will receive the reward of the inheritance that comes from serving Jesus the Christ. Some of you are asking God, enlarge my territory. And I got this question that I want to ask you. Are you willing to do with what comes with enlargement? See, enlargement brings about sometimes some valleys as well as peaks. Enlargement brings about sometimes people that are for you and people that's still trying to figure you out. Enlargement brings sometimes that feeling of I'm nervous and I'm afraid. That enlargement brings about sometimes that thing of, you know what, I'm going to take every lesson that I learned and every accomplishment that I had. And I'm decided that I'm not going to say that any of this was for naught. Some people would say, you know what, it was in vain. And some people would say, man, I wasted my time. And that relationship was a waste of time. And working on that job was a waste of time. And trying this new business venture was a waste of time. time and stepping out on faith was a waste of time. But I'm telling you right now on this day of November, which is the 14th day, if you're doing this thing with the motive of God, I'm doing it because you created me to do it. I'm doing it because I want to bring you glory. I'm doing it because I know it's my passion. I'm doing it because nobody has to pay me to do it. I'm doing it because nobody has to call on me to do it. I'm doing it whether they like it or not. I'm doing it, God, because I know that this is a part of what you created me to do. I'm doing it and I'm doing it scared. I'm doing it and I'm doing it with a little bit of bumps and bruises. I'm doing it and sometimes I'm doing it wiping tears from my eyes. I'm doing it and sometimes I'm sore because I done took so many hits along the way. I'm doing it and sometimes I feel like I'm carrying so much of the baggage, but I know that it's got to be worth it, God. I'm doing it because all things got to work together for my good. I'm doing it, God, because this is a part of why I was created. This is why I'm here. Hey there, Erica. This is why I'm here. I was created to do this. Oh, when you ask God to enlarge your territory, I don't want you to get confused and be as a guy. Why isn't a sunny day every day? Baby, some day does come with some storms and clouds, but don't you allow that to be what you rest your hat on. Oh, I need you to step back and I need you to be able to say, Sean, oh, look, I'm going to bring the sunshine to the cloudy day. Let me tell you, I'm going to bring the joy to the party. Let me tell you, I'm going to bring up the roll up your sleeve and we done cried about this long enough. Let's get it together. I'm going to bring, okay, all right, now dry your tears and wipe your nose, all right, and come on and get your eyes together. What we going to do next? I'm doing it and I'm going to do it to the best of my ability because I'm doing it for God. Oh, when you get to this place, what you do for God will last. What you do for God will prosper. What you do for God is not in vain. What you do for God will open those doors that no man can shut. What you do for God will open up the windows that no man can slam down. What you do for God will put you in a place where wisdom comes from above and you make decisions that you didn't even know how to make. What you do for God will put you in a position where you can say, my latter days sure looking better than the former. What you do for God will last. So don't you get weary in well-doing. Oh, Rosemary, don't you get weary in well-doing. I just came this morning to tell you it's worth it. I don't know what your it's is. I was talking with my baby sister earlier today, and she was having a rough moment. And I said, look, I'm not going to get in your business. I'm not going to ask. But what I will tell you, baby sister, it's worth it. Whatever is connected to how you're feeling that has tears in your eyes, I want to tell you it's worth it. I don't know what pivot and what change and adjustment that you're going to have to make, but I need you to remember it's worth it. I don't know what you're going to have to get in your mindset and say, you know what, this wasn't in vain. It's worth it. I don't know what it cost you and what you're trying to recoup because you lost some things along the way, but it's worth it because out of it you got some wisdom that you didn't have. Out of it you got to learn who was for you and who wasn't. Out of it you got to learn, well, how do I enter relationships and how do I end them? Out of it, you got to learn what is the best decision for me to make for myself. Out of it, you learn what it looks like to start something and maybe fail. Does that mean that you leave it alone? No, it means that you look at a way to do it all over again and to do it better and to do it wiser and to do it smarter and to do it a different way and to bring some different people and to collaborate a different way. Out of it comes so many things. It was never in vain. Hey, there, Celeste, can I tell you it was never in vain? I don't know how you grew up, but it was never in vain. I had somebody ask me one time, they said, Tab, if you could go back in your journey of life, would you change the way that you grew up? Would you change the things that you experienced? I said, no, it wouldn't make me the person that I am today. I thank God for my mama, and I thank God for my daddy. I thank God for foster parents, and I thank God for scholarships and even being a ward of the state because it paid some tuition that I didn't have the money to pay. I thank God for every job I worked on, even the jobs where I didn't like them and they didn't like me, because it taught me how to be a better leader. It taught me how to be a better supervisor. It taught me how to climb the ladder and do it the right way. I don't take nothing from my journey. I thank God for every relationship that was good and every relationship was bad. It showed me, well, what's in you? Why are you drawn to this and why are you drawn to that? It was worth it. I thank God for every opportunity, for the people that said I like you and the people that said I don't. Some of them that didn't like me, they didn't like me for a reason. I needed to work on my attitude. I needed to work on my presentation. I needed to be a better friend. I needed to learn how to be loyal. It was worth it because I learned when I got to somebody that really deserved my attention question, how do you be faithful? How do you be committed? How do you spend your energy here? How do you be a friend that knows how to receive a friend? How do you give correction that knows how to receive correction? It was worth it. Nothing that you're going through is in vain. Unless you put in your mind that I'm going to die right here. I'm going to just cry right here. I'm just going to lay it all down right here. Oh, goodness. And it wasn't worth it. All the money that went, it wasn't worth it. Every time that I tried something, it wasn't worth it. And everybody didn't show up, it wasn't worth it. Unless that's your position, then throw it on off to the side. If that's the position, Trevor, just go and throw it on off to the side. But if you've come to this place where you're like, no, what I'm living for is more than that. I appreciate all of that. It has some good memories attached to it. But I'm working for an inheritance that man can't give. And I've just put it in my mind and in my spirit, looking crazy and all. It's worth it. That's the word for today. I don't know who's listening and needed to hear that. Whoo, you came just in time. Yes, you did, baby sister. It's worth it. And whatever you do, you get into a rough patch, pivot, calibrate, adjust, do what you need to do. But I speak it in spirit and in faith. You are not going out like no chump. You are not going to let that get the best of you. Let me tell you what I told my sister, and I'm going to say it to y'all because we family now, right? We family. I said, look, now you done with I said, I got to get ready for Tuesday Live. I said, now what I need you to do, I said, I'm going to talk to you like mommy would talk to us, because Betty Burns, she would let you do but so much crying, and she would say, now, all right, your face getting all puffy and your eyes and your snotty, what's that all about? Get yourself together. Go wash your face, comb your hair, put on some smell good and a little bit of jewelry, get in the mirror, remind yourself of who you are and who you belong to, and baby, get it together and go on and handle your business. That's what I came to tell somebody this morning. Handle your business. Stop letting life get you mad and angry and discombobulated and can't think, and you're stressed and you can't feel and you're shut off and you're isolated and you don't know if you're going left or right or if you're coming or going. Today it stops. Today it stops. Today I gather myself and I say, no, I'm in the driver's seat of my life. I'm in the driver's seat of my emotions. I'm in the driver's seat of my finances. I've been broke before. I'll build it back up again. I'm in the driver's seat of my health. I've had times when I didn't feel my best before, and I'm going to go to the doctor's appointment. I'm going to see what the doctor has to say. I'm going to follow the instructions. I'm going to get out here and exercise. I'm going to take care of my body. I'm going to be mindful of what I eat. I'm going to become more disciplined. I am worth it. I'm not dying over that. Not over diabetes, cancer. I'm not dying like that. It's worth it. It's a sacrifice. It's worth it. Take care of yourself. Take care of your physical body, your mental health, your spirit. The other week we talked about guarding what comes in your ears and with your eyes and in your spirit and in your heart. Guard it because you're worth it. You have an assignment on your life. And I'm just declaring that there's no devil in hell unless you just decide to let them run up on you and take your territory. There is no devil, there's no witch, there's no warlock, there's no imp. There is nothing that can come against you in the form of a weapon that will be able to prosper unless you decide to let it. But I know I'm connected with some strong-minded folks on this Tuesday Live, and we've got a mission to stay connected to the source, who is Jesus the Christ. And God sent me to tell you this morning, it is worth it. In Jesus' name, amen. Y'all, that's the word for this Tuesday. I pray you got something up out of this word. I got a call in about 45 minutes. Now I got to go get myself together, but it was worth it. It was worth it. I pray you got something out of this word this morning. I pray that it's not just something that makes you feel good, but it makes you think. It makes you redirect. It makes you say, what do I need to do to get control back of my life so that I can be in position to receive the inheritance of God? Oh, I pray you got something worthy out of this this morning. Y'all, will be back, the Lord willing, and I live on Thursday. We are in this Bible study. We're learning about Jabez. Enlarge my territory is the theme for the month of November. And that's where we're going to be at this entire month. So we're going to be in Jabez. So I pray you'll come back on next Thursday, 11:30. Until then, may your day be prosperous. May it be full of good fruit. And no matter what you encounter, no matter what you encounter, know that it's worth it. In Jesus' name. Y'all know I got to go read the chat. Kevin, I see you in the chat. I love it. I love it. I love you guys. Have an amazing rest of the day. Mwah! Sweet kiss, sweet worth it kisses, baby. Sweet worth it kisses. Sweet kisses from my heart straight to yours. Have an absolutely fantastic day. And the Lord willing, I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.